What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi, and probably a barking dog as well. I might as well be staying in a kennel. I'm so over this dog, I can't even tell you. Um, but I was trying to wait, and he's never going to shut up. So I need to just go ahead and proceed. First, I want to say that there are some of you who are not aware. You're not keeping up with my work enough to know that I am a Muslim and that we are in the holy month of Ramadan right now. So that's why I have been scarce. In previous years, I try to do something that is geared towards the holy month or something like that, or either I'm just scarce. Ramadan requires a lot from the individual because the reward is so high from the Creator. And among the things that I and 2 billion other people are doing is we're fasting from sun up to sundown. Nothing crosses your palate, not even water. And you eat before the sun comes up and you eat after it goes down, just to abbreviate it for you. I have videos here on the channel that are geared towards showing you everything I have filmed, I have taught, and I have preached. Um, we are about to go into the last 10 days of the holy month. Um, and those have their own separate sacredness to them. Um, so I've been very busy, and also you have to read a 30th of the Quran each day. You must finish a 30th. And so that you will be done with the entire book by the end of the holy month. So there's that. Um, and there's some other things. Like I said, I have laid this out in previous work. Also, I'm also doing this today because I want to remind my people that you need to move over to Jedi Africa, my other channel. You need to be subscribed to both channels, because there has been times, and there will be in the future, where I may go many weeks on this channel doing nothing. And if you don't know that I have another channel, you don't know that I'm doing stuff on the other channel. So you think I'm just missing, but I'm not. So do make sure that you get over and subscribe to Jedi Africa. The link for that channel is under the video here. It's in the description box down below. It says Jedi Africa link. You click on the link that's there, it'll take you to the channel, and you subscribe over there. All right? I'm doing this because it keeps presenting itself. I think I saw it come up in my feed probably the night that it happened, and uh, I was first struck by it because I have been across this bridge many, many, many times, day and night. Um, as you know, I lived in Maryland for many years, and I lived in, well, the last place I lived in Maryland was Beltsville, Maryland, out near the university. And so when I used to go into Baltimore, because I used to love to go up to the Inner Harbor, and yeah, there's the National Aquarium is up there. It's Baltimore is a beautiful city. We used to love to go to Druid Hill Park, which is very festive, especially on Saturdays and Sundays. Everybody be up there parking their rides, and it's just black folks everywhere. It's just such a good time. I love Baltimore so much. I love Maryland. But so I had a personal connection to this bridge. And then I started hearing people saying or asking me, do you think this was terrorism? Do you think, and I just was like, well, what did I not see? Let me go back, and because I just saw that this had happened. I knew the bridge and I was over it. But I needed to go back because people were asking me stuff. And I didn't really have an answer other than, well, I know the bridge and a tanker ran into it. End of story. But that is not the end of the story. And I'm here now to prosecute my case on my findings that I believe this was not an accident, that it was a deliberate act. Why was it done, Jedi? I don't know. We could imagine many scenario under which these demons would do something like this. It is noteworthy to mention that they gave us the P. Diddy raid, the UN Security Council announcing a ceasefire in Gaza, and this, and there was one other event, something else happened, all at the same time. And I said, okay, this is too many major things happening all at once. Too many major things happening all at once. So that put the hairs on my ear up, just briefly. And I thought, let me go back and look at this. And what I'm finding, and I'm going to prove in my prosecution here now in this sitting, that it is certainly eligible to raise the question of conspiracy, a deliberate act. Before you even get into the economics of it, who stands to gain, what this will mean for you, even though you don't live in Baltimore or Maryland, but that there is an evil that is afoot here. All right. First, this is the video that is the most pervasive that we are seeing. And I want you to look now as I point out to you. My cursor is green. I'll just move it back and forth so you can be familiar with it, so you'll be able to follow it. We're going to look at explosions that are happening. This is the video that they just gave out immediately, all right? But I have some other footage that supports my prosecution. So let us see this. Then we'll see there's a short news conference and some other clips involved in this particular video. And then we'll just move through this as I deem best to do so. All right? So here we go.
The video shows the moment a cargo ship plowed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. CBS News has confirmed the massive container ship lost propulsion before impact.
The entire bridge, the entire Key Bridge is in the harbor.
We know there were individuals.
Now, stop. The language. They said before it plowed into. Hear the language. Let's run the sequence again.
The video shows the moment a cargo ship plowed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. CBS News has confirmed the massive container ship lost propulsion before impact.
The entire bridge, the entire Key Bridge is in the harbor.
They've confirmed that the entire ship lost propulsion before the impact. That's what they just told us. Let's see it again.
The video shows the moment a cargo ship plowed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. CBS News has confirmed the massive container ship lost propulsion before impact.
Has confirmed that the massive container ship lost propulsion before the impact. Now, let us see this. I want you to look here now. All right? You see my cursor? Right around where this smoke is. But I have confirmed that this smoke is coming off probably, something from the ship, a stack, an engine, something. All right? But that's not coming off the bridge. But notice now. In fact, let us run it in slow motion. Well, first we're running at regular speed.
Video shows the moment a cargo ship plowed into the
There.
Francis Scott Key
Did you see it?
Bridge. Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Wait, let's go back.
Video shows the moment a cargo ship plowed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Video shows the moment a cargo ship.
There. Did you
Video
see it?
shows the moment a
Right
cargo
here.
ship plowed into the
You
Francis
see
Scott
that?
Key Bridge.
We're running in slow motion.
Video shows.
Watch closely now. This is in slow motion. Watch. Do you see that? You can see it very clearly there. We'll just run it again. You even see it ignite. Watch closely. Ignition there, and then total, explosion, whatever. See it again. Watch. Ignition and blow up. You see? It's traveling with the bridge, so we know it's on the bridge. All right? See it again. Ignition, it's traveling. You see, it's traveling towards my cursor, so I have to move the cursor down. We know it's moving. It's not something in the background. This is taking place on the infrastructure of the bridge. We'll see it again. Watch closely. There. Ignition, and it's moving. All right? Let's see it one more time. There. You saw it. Now, watch now here, right around where this light, which is actually in the background, so you have to watch a little more closer. We'll see the same thing happen there. Watch closely now. Watch. Ignition. It's moving. You see? That's another explosion. There it is. We'll see it again. Right now. You see it there. There. Ignition. The white light. Moving with the bridge. There. I will also suggest to you that this is something known as thermate. This is the same stuff that they used on the Twin Towers when they blew up the towers in New York on September 11th, 2001. Who the hell is at my damn door? Oh my God, the blood of Jesus. Hold on, y'all. All right, but back to the lecture at hand. So we were here at this light, all right? And so this is our other explosion that's taking place, everybody. I want you to notice that now, all right? And also, well, I'll say that in a minute. Notice now, right here where my cursor is. Boom, we have the white light. That's another explosion happening. And then we'll see the flame. There it is. Do you see? And the smoke. And it's moving, so we know it's not coming from the background. We'll just see the sequence again. You see? And when that happens, this section begins to kink because it's been compromised now by that explosion. Just like in the first one over here, right where the explosion is where the bridge kinks at as it's collapsing. You see, there's our explosion, and this is our kink here. You see that? That's our kink from the explosion. Same thing over here. Where it exploded is where we are kinking. You see that? Now, here is our other third large piece of evidence on this explosion. Follow my cursor, everybody. Look over here now. This section comes loose. Somebody hit the button too late. Because watch now, it's completely detached, and suddenly we're going to get a flame. There it is, major flame. You see? We'll see it again. There it is. This section tears away, and then, well, we see the bright light. Wait now. See it again now. Boom. There's your ignition. And we'll get another one. Boom. There it is, midair. You cannot miss that. Excuse me. Let's see the sequence again. Watch here where my cursor is. Boom. There's your ignition. There. It's broken away, and then boom. Another explosion. One more time. So you got 3 explosions that bring down this section, and here. And it's not in frame, but I theorize now that there's another one happening off to the right over here that was not captured in this footage. All right? But we don't need it in order to prove this prosecution. Let's go. We're over here now, again, on this last explosion. There's your ignition. There. The first one. There's your other one. Now, it's separated. Boom. They hit it again. Did it go off too late? Did it? I mean, who cares? The fact of the matter is we absolutely see 3 separate events happening. If it was one, they could claim something, whatever. But the fact that you have 3 makes it an anomaly. And what do I always tell you about anomaly? The moment you have anomalies, you have the framework, the footprint, and the stench of conspiracy. An anomaly in this context is anything where you've got too many coincidences happening at once. A coincidence would be extraordinary enough on its own with any topic or event. Like, wasn't it interesting that at the same time it began to rain, there was, somebody was hit by a cab in New York, you know. Yeah, that is kind of weird, huh? We haven't had rain in 5 years and nobody's been hit by a car in 5 years. And on the very moment that it starts to rain, somebody gets hit by a car. Wow, that's interesting. That would be a coincidence. That would be, But now we begin to learn that Texas didn't have rain for 3 years. And on the very day that it rained was the same day it rained in New York, and somebody in Texas was hit by a cab at the exact same time. And the same thing happened in Washington. Now we have an anomaly. It's no longer coincidence now. We have anomaly. You see? So this is anomalous. This must be explained. Why do you have 3 explosions going off on this bridge? The other thing to note is that isn't it convenient that on the very night that this happens, you have construction workers working on the bridge to fill potholes? That's anomalous, everybody. Just so happens, of all nights, and at night no less, and we need a crew out there to be filling potholes. Just, you see, anomaly. Let's see the full sequence again, and we'll go on through the report. We'll run it in real time. First, we'll run it in slow motion, then we'll run it in real time and go into the report. All right?
Video shows...
Well, we don't need to hear him. There's your explosion. There's your other one here in the middle. And then you'll have another one over here. Boom. In midair. There it is. Now, isn't it interesting that the tanker hits here, but collapses are happening everywhere except for exactly where it's been hit at? Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, it is also noteworthy to note that most ships on the waters today have this long bulb thing that sticks out in front of it underwater. It's to help it move through the water more smoothly and everything. So that would hit this whole thing before the ship bow would hit it. But no mention of that. You see? It's so we don't need it, but it's certainly we have to note that for the record. All right. Let's see the sequence again in slow motion, the full sequence, and we'll see it in real time and go on. There you go. There you go. And then our final explosion. Boom. And why I say that there might be another one going off over here to the right off camera where we can't see is because notice the movement of this bridge, this section. Uh, just watch that section in relation to this final explosion. All right, focus over here, everybody. Follow me now. When the Jedi speaks, you learn. Watch now. Watch, watch, watch. We already see movement here. We already see movement. You see, it's moving already. It's moving already. It's moving already. It's going down, 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 down. It's still going. You see? So this was already moving at the time that this began to, you see, but the way that it's moving suggests that it's not precipitous of this movement. That is indeed individual because of something happening off camera. I suggest to you. All right? See that movement again. Boom, and it hits the water. All right. We'll take it back, see it in real time, and let the report play. Before we go on, it's important to note, this harbor is lit up like a Christmas tree. So they have the benefit of all these lights behind them to be able to see what's in front of them perfectly. We're standing in the shadow over here where we're at. We're looking towards the light. So this part, so from our vantage point, the bridge is dark from where we see it. But if we were on the other side, the bridge would be lit up. We would have the benefit of all these lights behind us. You see what I'm saying? Do you follow me? So that's important to note. But the next video I'm going to show you is even more explosive. But let's let this play now and see the report and react to that. Go.
Video shows the moment a cargo ship plowed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. CBS News has confirmed the massive container ship lost propulsion before impact.
The entire bridge, the entire Key Bridge is in the harbor.
We know there were individuals on the bridge at the time of the collapse working on the bridge.
Now the Coast Guard and other agencies are racing to find possible survivors. In addition to workers on the bridge, video shows multiple vehicles on the...
Now, other reports that I saw trying to pull footage to show you, I noticed they'll highlight this, but they never show these vehicles while the event is happening. So everybody stops it. Right where this one will stop. See it now.
Possible survivors. In addition to workers on the bridge, video shows multiple vehicles on the span.
Then it cuts off. You see?
Doing everything.
Also, in a separate piece, not in this prosecution, this guy we have to ask questions about. He came on my radar several years ago because there's another gentleman with his same name who was incarcerated, and it's a whole thing. They have the same name, and it was a very interesting story. He's an author, and all this and the third, but suddenly he's governor of Maryland, not understanding, but that's something else. I just wanted to put that on your brain. I'll shut up and we'll react to this report.
We know there were individuals on the bridge at the time of the collapse working on the bridge.
Now the Coast Guard and other agencies are racing to find possible survivors. In addition to workers on the bridge, video shows multiple vehicles on the span.
And our response teams are doing everything in our power to rescue and recover the victims of this collapse, literally as we speak.
The 974-foot cargo ship called the Dolly left Baltimore Harbor about 20 minutes before the crash. At one point, crew members on board notified state officials that the ship had lost propulsion and that hitting the bridge was possible.
As a result, local authorities were able to close the bridge to traffic before the bridge was struck, which undoubtedly saved lives.
Just now, wait. Traffic was stopped before the bridge was hit, said the diaper. You just heard him say it. Not turn around, drive for your life, abandon your car, and run. It just stopped traffic. That's another anomaly.
Dolly left Baltimore Harbor about 20 minutes before the crash.
20 minutes.
At one point, crew members on board notified state officials that the ship had lost propulsion and that hitting the bridge was possible.
As a result, local authorities were able to close the bridge to traffic before the bridge was struck, which undoubtedly saved lives.
Video shows most of the lights on the ship going out just before the accident.
The steering system on a ship like this is hydraulically powered, and so when you lose electrical power, you're going to lose the hydraulics. Of course, the rudder.
Hear this. This is very important to our next piece, and a critical piece of evidence in my prosecution. Hear him now. Listen, everybody. Listen to what people are saying. Do you understand? Listen down. Listen to what people are saying, because this is how you piece the puzzle together. It's one of the ways. It's one of the ways. They're the ones telling the story. They're telling it. We have no liability here. You're telling the story. So I am going to discern and interpret what you are saying to me. That's very important. Well, we'll go back and hear the diaper, and then we'll go on.
It's possible.
As a result, local authorities were able to close the bridge to traffic before the bridge was struck, which undoubtedly saved lives.
Video shows most of the lights on the ship going out just before the accident.
The steering system on a ship like this is hydraulically powered, and so when you lose electrical power.
Wait now. Wait.
On the ship going out.
Just a second.
Video shows most of the lights on the ship going out just before the accident.
Just a second.
Video shows most of the lights on the ship going out just before the accident.
They said they had stopped traffic, but I see this big ass 18-wheeler coming across. Clear as day. But the diaper just told us they stopped traffic 20 minutes before, would undoubtedly save more lives.
Video shows most.
But oh my God, is that an 18-wheeler at least coming across? Oh my God. But they stopped traffic already, everybody.
The lights on the ship going out just before the accident.
The steering system on a ship like this is hydraulically powered, and so when you lose electrical power, you're going to lose the hydraulics. Of course, the rudder is hydraulically powered.
The rudder is hydraulically powered. You saw him move his hand to demonstrate. You see? And so it wouldn't be moving if the power is out. The ship would just be frozen in whatever position it's headed in because the rudder doesn't work because we've lost what? All power according to them. Let's go on.
The steering system on a ship like this is hydraulically powered, and so when you lose electrical power, you're going to lose the hydraulics. Of course, the rudder is hydraulically powered.
Officials say the workers on the bridge were repairing potholes. A facility.
The workers on the bridge were repairing potholes. Huh? Let's start with the Zionist bastard first.
For the accident.
The steering system on a ship like this is hydraulically powered, and so when you lose electrical power, you're going to lose the hydraulics. Of course, the rudder is hydraulically powered.
Officials say the workers on the bridge were repairing potholes. A facility has been set up with mental health professionals for family members to deal with this tragedy. Ryan Hughes, CBS News, Baltimore County, Maryland.
Baltimore County, Maryland. All right. Now, that is my opening piece of evidence, my opening statement, if you will. All right. I've shown that there are 3 separate explosions that are going off on 3 sections of this bridge. All right. That is not in dispute at all. We heard from the diaper that they stopped traffic 20 minutes before because, oh my God, they're going to save lives and they don't know where on earth this ship could go. It could end up in Alaska. It could be in Egypt. We don't know. Everybody's in danger. It's coming through your house. All right. Then the glasses wearing only neck says to us that when you lose electrical power, you lose hydraulic power. So the rudder can't move. This is what they've said to us. All right. And they also said to us that the power on the ship went out before the impact. All the lights went out. Huh? This is their testimony, their language. Let's move to my second piece of evidence. This now is our second piece of evidence. It says raw. Cargo ship loses power, comma, crashes into Baltimore Bridge. That comma is very important, everybody, because it's saying to us that it lost power first, and then it crashed into the bridge. That comma is very important. Now, see this sequence now. Remember, they've said to us that all the lights went out, and because there was no power and there's no way they could steer it because, oh my God, the electrical went out. When you lose electrical, you lose hydraulics. That's what they said to us. All right, that's fine. It's sped up. The footage is sped up, obviously. And I'm going to explain to you why that is. That's going to be another piece of evidence. Remember, the rudder is frozen, everybody. The lights just went out, so they got no way to steer this thing anymore. It's over. We can't. It's doomsday. Jump over ship. You run for your life. We've lost electrical. We've lost hydraulic. There's no way we can turn the rudder now because we've lost all power. Go. All power's out. Can't turn it. Power's back on. Oh my God, is it turning? Is it turning? Is it turning? Is the power back on after it already went out and it's turning? It's turning. Oh, power out again because we have to be out before we hit the bridge because we've lost all power and we can't steer. Power back on. Power's still on. Still turning. Deliberately turning. 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 Heading for the bridge now with power on. Clearly lights are on and impact. We'll just run the sequence again. Remember, they said to us, I'll just run it again.
The steering system on a ship like this is hydraulically powered, and so when you lose electrical power, you're going to lose the hydraulics. Of course, the rudder is hydraulically powered.
The rudder is hydraulically powered, so you can't steer it once you lose the power. But turn that power off because we think we're already hit it. We're going to hit it. Wait, Bob. I don't think we're headed directly to it. Turn the power back on so we can turn towards the bridge so we'll be able to hit it. I think we're lined up now. Quick, kill the power again. Hit the switch. Kill the power. I don't know if we're lined up. Quick, turn the power back on. We're lined up. Quick, turn the power off. Somebody hit the switch. But they didn't hit the switch. You see? So all that, oh my God, we had no power, does not stand up. Let's see it again. And what do we see whizzing across the top of our screens? But the diaper told us that traffic had already been stopped 20 minutes before, saving many more lives, undoubtedly. But apparently, they didn't get the memo. Because I'm seeing traffic. Traffic, 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 traffic. You see? So this idea that they lost all power at 20 minutes before the incident and they were just out there for 20 minutes just aimlessly heading towards the bridge, nothing anyone could do, not even the Jedi, and it was just a hopeless thing, nothing could save us, and into the bridge we go. But this piece of evidence shows us that that statement can't be true, and indeed is not true. Here you have the power being turned off because I suggest to you that they think they've lined it up now for this. This was the story that was supposed to be sold. It lost power and was just aimlessly heading towards this bridge. Nothing anyone could do. That falls flat and fails because we see that indeed you had power. Not only did you have power, you were still steering the ship. Because remember, the rudder can't move on its own. You have to have electrical power in order to have hydraulics. So when you turn it on, you've got hydraulics and electrical. You see? And they were just turning it off and on. In the fog of all the accident, nobody will pay attention to this. It's fine. We got to get this thing lined up so we hit that damn column. You see? But oh my God, this video exists. There we're turning. Turn the power back on. There's our smoke that I pointed out when I first started, saying that smoke is in the background, is coming from the ship, has nothing to do with the actual bridge itself. But that's the source of it. You see it there. And that might be significant because maybe somebody was trying to gun the engine. Why would we have smoke? No smoke, no smoke, no smoke, no smoke, no smoke. We're turning, suddenly there's smoke as we're turning. Huh? You see that? It's a very important piece of evidence because we've got no smoke happening. The lights are on. Now they turn them off. Still no smoke. So the ship is going to continue to head in one direction because they can't move the rudder. You can't turn it. So it's going to continue on its trajectory. But sadly, it's not lined up to hit the bridge. So somebody's got to turn those damn lights back on. Turn lights on. Gun it. Turn it. Turn it. Smoke being produced because we're trying to gun it a little bit. You see? And we're clearly turning. Clearly turning. Turn lights back off. I think we're lined up now. Smoke still coming out. We're still turning. Turn those lights back on. And they're still on. And they stay on to the impact. And what we're going to see in another piece of evidence is you're going to see where the damage, the minimal damage to the ship is on the side. Like they almost grazed it. They almost didn't hit it at all. Do you hear what I said to you? They almost didn't hit it at all. They almost missed it. That's why the lights are going on and off like a Christmas tree. Do you understand? And why we're seeing smoke coming out. But the lights are clearly on at the time of impact. because they got to make sure they hit this damn bridge. There's our impact. And the lights are on. Down comes the bridge. But you notice the lights go off before the bridge comes down. It's very important. Notice, everybody. Notice. It's a fraction of a second, but they turn off the lights on the ship before the bridge begins to come down. Notice. You see that? There. There. Lights out. And more fire here from an explosion. Do you see that? Notice. Right here. Boom. There it is. Notice. Notice. Do you see that? And that's from the bridge. That did not come from the ship. Notice. That's up top. It's moving. It's part of the bridge. It's moving downward. It's part of the bridge. Notice. You see that? That's a separate explosion. It's moving with the bridge. So we know it's not because of impact with the tanker. It is moving with the bridge. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's moving with the bridge. That means it's attached to the bridge. It is moving. See the sequence. Impact. But that didn't knock it down. Quick, set off those explosives. You see? It sits. You would think the moment we hit it, we should have movement, but we don't. We don't have movement at impact of the bridge. The impact happens and they sit there. Then somebody goes, all right, quick, now we've hit it, and they blow it up. Look, boom. Impact is done. The water subsides. So we know the impact is done. 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 Bridge starts to come down. And not at the point of impact. You see? Boom. This kink over here happens first. This first explosion that we talked about at the very beginning of the video. This. Then this one's going to happen. Boom. There it is. And remember, I'll play it in slow motion. Because remember, it's moving with the bridge. Wait now. Wait. We'll do it in slow motion. Oop. Lights are on. So don't give me we had no power crap. I've proven that already. They had power when they wanted it, and they didn't have it when they didn't want it. They were turning it off and on. And they may have had power the entire time. They might have just been turning the lights off and on to suggest that they didn't have power. You see? Whatever we want to imagine, we're justified. Wait, we already had the impact. Let me go back. Oh, wait, I need to go back further. All right, here we go. Here we go. Play, Jedi. Boom, there's your impact. A grazing. The water subsides. Nothing moved. The bridge didn't even move until somebody hits the button. You understand? We're done with the impact now. And down comes the bridge with the explosions happening at the various sections, and they're kinking as I've demonstrated to you through the evidence. And now, right here in the center, over here where my cursor is, we have an explosion. Boom, ignition and explosion. There you have it, moving with the bridge in a downward motion. Definitely letting us know it's not part of the ship or because of anything hitting the ship and reacting. It is part of the bridge. Just like this one over here is that's happening there. That's happening. You see that explosion happening as it's coming down. It's moving down. This over here on top of the ship now. ignition and explosion. Boom, it's moving downward. There you go. You see what I'm saying? But we've proven and shown that the impact had no effect on the bridge at all. Do you understand? Because it was a grazing, and I'm going to show that in the evidence. There. But notice also, you don't have to even be, you could just see how the ship is. You could tell that's not a dead-on hit. This is the bow here. The pointy part, if you will. Water goes up because we just impacted the concrete support. So we should see movement there of the bridge. The language was they plowed into the bridge. That's why I said listen to language earlier. Plowed into it. Because they want you to think there was all this force and inertia that just, oh my God, it hit it and went on down. But that didn't happen. Watch now, again, the impact. There's our impact. Lights are on the ship. We should have something moving. Nothing's moving. Nothing's moving. Nothing's moving. Just a second now. On impact, we should have some movement of this bridge since it was so catastrophic. Here we go. Boom. The bridge is being impacted. No movement from the bridge. Nothing happening. Bridge is perfectly still. Nothing happening. Nothing happening. Water is subsiding. The impact is over. Nothing happening to the bridge. Still nothing happening. Still nothing happening. Still nothing happening. Still nothing happening until somebody hits the button and says, move that bridge now. Boom. There you go. Then they start hitting their sections. Do you see? And then boom, that tall tale explosion coming up right here. Boom, there it is. There it is. What we also notice, everybody, is what we don't see. That also goes to the alleged plowing into the bridge. If there had been any type of speed to this thing, some of those containers would have moved and fallen into the water, and they didn't. The only containers that we have, and I'm going to show that in other video that I've got lined up for you. The only containers that we see affected are ones that the actual bridge and road impacted as it came down. That's it. We have not a single container being affected by the impact of this collision. Why is that, Jedi? I'm going to answer that for you in a moment. Let's see this again. There's our impact. No movement from the bridge. Not even a vibration. The water tells the story, everybody. When the water subsides, it says the collision is over. And then suddenly, the bridge comes down. Explosion here, where my cursor is. Explosion. Then dramatic explosion here, where my cursor is. You see, there it is. Now, we'll run it in full speed and we'll let the entire clip play out. Lights on, lights off. Lights on, lights off. Clearly, it's turning. So all this, we couldn't steer it. We couldn't do anything. We've blown that up. Look now. Look. Clearly turning to the right. It's right. There's your impact. Nothing happened. Then suddenly, you see? Then they turn the lights off again. So don't give me there was all these crew members that were killed on board. I mean, come on. It's just, I can't do it. I won't do it. I don't need to do it. Now, let's get to another piece of evidence. Now, this one, there's nothing like a first-person experience, an eyewitness. Hear this short piece now, because, you know, if you go back and you watch the documentary that Spike Lee did on the Katrina, you had all these people who lived near the levee, these black people of various ages, who lived near the levee, saying they heard the explosions. They heard it, that they felt it. Hear now what this witness had to say about what she experienced.
We also sent our Scott Broom to the scene as soon as this happened.
Scott, good morning. You've been talking to people in that area, and one woman you spoke with actually heard the bridge collapse.
Well, a lot of people on this end of the bridge, this neighborhood, Turner Station, part of Dundalk, Maryland, felt the rattle and the shake and the thunder as the bridge came down. We'll talk to some of those in a moment. First, let me set the scene. This is the northern foot of the bridge here, the MDTA police headquarters. It's a staging area for much of the rescue that's going on. And while I was here, I was able to discuss briefly with an individual, unfortunately in broken Spanish on my part, who said that he has 3 co-workers he's deeply concerned about. He doesn't know their fate or where they are. He was here because he's concerned, and he thinks they may have been among those who were doing some of the concrete work on the bridge overnight. All of that unconfirmed, and we're trying, just like he is, to get as much information as available. So that's the type of folks we're talking to here behind me. These are houses that are right next to the roadway here, and a lot of people I spoke with, first of all, they're just in disbelief because of this iconic bridge is missing. And then listen to Venetia Barbie, who I spoke to a while ago. She described hearing the bridge come down last night.
This morning, it was around 1:30, and I live right here off of New Pittsburgh Avenue, me and my 87-year-old mom. And the building has shook so severely.
Boom.
And it woke me up. I was scared, and I didn't know what was going on. I ran out to look.
The building shook so severely it woke her up. Now remember, if this cargo ship hits the column in the water and the bridge falling into the water, why would she feel it? You understand? Because explosives is what you feel. Hear it again. Let it play out.
This morning, it was around 1:30, and I live right here off of New Pittsburgh Avenue, me and my 87-year-old mom. And the building has shook so severely, and it woke me up. I was scared, and I didn't know what was going on. I ran out to look to see what had happened, because we had planes that fly across. I heard all the police and fire trucks and, you know, people just racing down here on Bronan Highway, coming this way, but never to think that that would happen, that the bridge had collapsed. I thought maybe it was just a major, terrible accident and everything. So later on, people started calling me. My phone was blowing up because they know this is the route I've been taking since 1982. I had worked for Avis Rental Car since then, And then I was employed with the post office in 1989, working at the airport, Mythica, Maryland, taking this bridge on a night shift for over 30 something years. And I'm in disbelief. It's just, it's just incomprehensive to even believe the bridge is gone, because this is an everyday of life that people take this bridge to get back and forth to work or wherever they're traveling to.
And when you talk about the everyday of life, folks here on this side of the bridge, they cross the bridge every day, and it's this iconic presence on the Baltimore skyline, and they're literally standing around here in complete disbelief that it's gone. They can see the ship out there, and they can see the remains of the steel structure in the water. The bridge primarily serves people in northern Anne Arundel County.
Okay, that's all fine. But that is very telling. That's very telling. Because the fact that she heard it and she said it shook the building, that is indicative of explosives. It just is. You'll recall that in some of the footage that I showed in my 9/11 video that I did, it's here on the channel, the witnesses said they felt the explosions that were many blocks away. They felt it and the ground shook. I brought you one guy that said, he said the ground shook. It made you feel like you wanted to grab onto something, We'll just hear from some other people who had their own experience, what they heard and felt.
People miles away reported feeling the ground shake, the explosive impact jolting them from their beds.
Well, I was sleeping. About 1:30, I felt the vibration of the house vibrating and heard the big bang come down. Looked out on the water, as you can see. You see the
Hear that now.
Explosive impact jolting them from their beds.
Jolting them from their beds. I remind you, this is a bridge hitting water. Hitting water. So the only way you're going to feel that is the vibration that would go off with the part of the bridge that's still on land, and the vibration of the explosive going through that. That plus the sound. Hear this.
Well, I was sleeping. About 1:30,
He was sleeping.
I felt the vibration of the house vibrating and heard the big bang come down. Looked out on the water, as you can see. You see the ship out there sinking. The bridge is gone, and it's unbelievable, unbelievable. I've been in this neighborhood 57 years. I remember when they started building that bridge, and can't believe it's gone.
I heard a very loud noise. Felt like, or heard like thunder to me. However, it's like very
Thunder. That's going to be your explosion. And at 9/11, a lot of witnesses were saying they heard what sounded like a clap of thunder, and then they saw the building just go to hell.
Building that bridge, and can't believe it's gone.
I heard a very loud noise. Felt like, or heard like thunder to me. However, it's like very long thunder, but it was very loud. I live not too far from here in Dundalk, so I thought it was thunder or possibly a train.
Crews worked for hours in the dark, cold Patapsco River to rescue those who plunged into the water.
Wait now. Then there is this guy who said if he had been a minute later, he wouldn't have been here and all of it. That's all fine, whatever. All right. That may be more drama than anything, but that's not important. Hear what he says.
There was a police car when I went by right before the toll bridge. From what I understand, they knew something was going to happen, so
they knew something was going to happen.
He was waiting to get the word to stop the traffic.
He was waiting to get the word to stop the traffic. We'll just hear it again, damn it. Wait now. It's very important.
Police car, when I went by right before the toll bridge, from what I understand, they knew something was going to happen, so he was waiting to get the word to stop the traffic. So I guess I was like the last one that went through.
And once he got off the bridge, he didn't see or hear the collapse. The only reason he knew is because one of his coworkers called him.
While I'm sitting at the light, the woman from here called me and said, "Where are you at?" Because she knew I was, she said, "Did you go home or you?" I said, "No, I just went over the bridge." She said, "Well, it just collapsed."
Okay. And we have to be very careful of this word collapse, everybody, because that's not what we're saying. I have to say this a million times because it's just like at 9/11. Even now, when they have to show footage of some of it, they still use this word collapse. Nothing collapsed. Everything was blown to fucking smithereens. That's what happened. Period. Use your eyes and your senses that Allah has given you and stop listening to this white devil. Now, there's another statement that is very curious, to say the least. Let's hear that. Before we do that, hear this old guy here.
In this community, tell us a bit about what you saw and heard this morning.
Good morning. We were awakened by what sounded like a rolling thunder coming through, and it felt like an earthquake. When the bridge came down, it did crash into the water, and it made
What felt like an earthquake, said Donald Hine Buck. You see, I remind you, this was a bridge hitting water. But you would feel this when it's still in one piece, when explosions are going off and that vibration is going through the rest of the concrete and steel. That's why people are reporting earthquakes and rolling trains and, all of it. So, but now there's a curious statement by the governor that we must hear this. I should also mention this is the phase now where they start wanting you to focus on first responders. You see, remember when they were leading up to the Iraq War, it was all about the troops. It's all about the troops. And before that, it was all about the first responders at ground zero. It's all about the first responders. It's just, the first responders. So hear what he says, and then hear a question that he was asked. Very, very suspect. Hear this now.
Maryland's Governor Wes Moore said he's spoken with a survivor who narrowly escaped with his life.
One of the survivors who I had the opportunity to speak with, one of the things he mentioned to me was as he was moving off of the bridge and literally saw the bridge fall right after he moved off, it was because it was a first responder who was telling him to move off of the bridge.
It was a first responder that was telling him to come off the bridge. You see, they're giving you the heroes segment of this conspiracy now. You see, it's always the event that deny what your eyes are saying. We clearly see explosions going off, have proven that. Deny that, give you the terror of it, then give you the sympathy story of ones who lost their lives and are still missing, and then give you first responders while also feeding you you're about to be screwed. You see? So you heard what he said there. Now, and it had two elements. It had the person who barely survived and a first responder. Oh, it was a perfect combination. All right, now hear this.
CNN has requested more information about this survivor from
CNN has requested more information about this survivor. In other words, the person that the governor just claimed that, was waved off the bridge by a first responder. CNN has requested more information about this about this survivor. Go on. Wait.
To move off of the bridge.
CNN has requested more information about this survivor from the governor's office and the Maryland Transportation Authority.
Go on.
Reporters asked exactly how those on the bridge were notified to get off as the vessel crashed.
They wanted to know how those people who were on the bridge were notified about to get off. You see? Oh, there's some things you just can't get around. You understand? Because as I showed earlier in this piece, I showed you there was traffic going back and forth after the diaper claimed that they had told people to stop traffic and thereby saving more lives and all of it. But there it was, traffic just whizzing by over the bridge as the thing is about to hit it. Clearly no traffic was stopped. Go on, CNN.
This survivor from the governor's office and the Maryland Transportation Authority. Reporters asked exactly how those on the bridge were notified to get off as the vessel crashed.
How were they notified? Were they given walkie-talkies before they got on the bridge that day and said, here, just keep this just in case you may get a notice? I mean, no. So how did you notify these people to get off the bridge? But here's his answer.
Well, I think we'll find out via investigation what exactly happened. I
think we'll find out via investigation exactly what happened. No, nigga, you're supposed to know now. You feel me? Since you've been claiming that these people were notified and we stopped traffic to save lives, even the diaper said it. So we need an answer now. Do you understand? Hear it again.
Office and the Maryland Transportation Authority. Reporters asked exactly how those on the bridge were notified to get off as the vessel crashed.
Well, I think we'll find out via investigation what exactly happened. I know that the one person I spoke with, he said it was audibly that the officer was telling him to move off.
Audibly. Well, where were the officers and where was he at? Did they yell from one side of the bridge all the way on land and he heard it? I mean, was it a bullhorn? Was it a smoke signal? I mean, what happened? I mean, but this is to craft, but this is what they always do. They always craft some shit that they really didn't need to craft. And this is that. You're crafting this story when our eyes are seeing, and by the way, they're showing the very footage I'm talking about. Wait now.
That the one person I spoke with, he said it was audibly.
Wait, here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
We're also
Look, it's about to hit and there's traffic going across. So when were they notified to get off? Because we just seen traffic like 2 seconds before it's about to hit. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. I mean, I can't. That is a lie. That is a lie. This is why you have these Latino men that were killed. That's why they're dead. Because there was no stopping of traffic. And the bastard in the red hat that I showed you said that he was told by an officer that the officer was waiting for the word to hold traffic. How was there an officer just there ready to be given a word to stop traffic? I mean, this time frame is very smoky at best. It does not line up with what we see happened. It just doesn't. And we clearly see that there's traffic. And by the way, this shot here, they never show any more than this. This is from CCTV camera. So that means you have the entire event. So just let this footage play, but they never do. We've seen it in several reports and they don't let it play. They just show that and you can see the boat coming, about to hit it, and with lights on, I should add. And yet we don't have them just showing this footage completely. Because if they do, we're going to see explosions more clearly. That's what that's all about. That's why they don't show all of this, I suggest to you. But I love that they asked that question. How were the people on the bridge notified?
Maryland Transportation Authority. Reporters asked exactly how those on the bridge were notified to get off as the vessel crashed.
Well, I think we'll find out by investigation what exactly happened. I know that the one person I spoke with, he said it was audibly that the officer was telling him to move off.
We're also hearing a story from a driver who was stopped from entering the bridge just in time.
Okay, let's hear her.
In all honesty, if my passenger wasn't a little bit late coming out to the car.
No, but they set it up as if she was told something. Hold on, hear this.
Honestly,
Wait, we have to hear the setup.
Audibly that the officer was telling him to move off.
We're also hearing a story from a
We're hearing a story from a driver
who was stopped from entering the bridge just in time.
Who was stopped from entering the bridge just in time. And you see how they dovetailed on what the piece I just highlighted for you with the exchange with the governor and the media about how were they notified. So you see how the media is trying to dovetail on that and make it seem like this is part of that, like as if she was stopped by some police officer or something. But that's not the story she tells. It's another mind fuck, everybody. Hear the story she tells. This isn't somebody being stopped from going onto the bridge. This is someone who's somehow fate intervened. Hear it. We have to hear the lead in again. The whole sequence, because I need you to see how they're trying to make you think you heard something you didn't hear. This is a separate thing.
Those on the bridge were notified to get off as the vessel crashed.
How those on the bridge were notified.
Well, I think we'll find out by investigation what exactly happened. I know that the one person I spoke with, he said it was audibly that the officer was telling him to move off.
It was audibly. Now,
we're also hearing a story
again, dovetailing on the governor's statement. We're also hearing a story of a driver who was stopped from entering the bridge. You immediately have a visual in your head of somebody pulling up to the bridge and somebody saying, nope, not right here, fat bitch. You see? But wait, go on.
Bridge just in time.
But then just in time. But that's not the story she tells. Go, fat white lady.
In all honesty, if my passenger wasn't a little bit late coming out to the car and getting into it.
So it had to do with her passenger. She's an Uber driver. In all honesty, she begins, in all honesty even. Not, I was stopped by a police officer or a, wait for it, first responder. No. In all honesty, go.
Just in time.
In all honesty, if my passenger wasn't a little bit late coming out to the car and getting into it, we probably very well could have been on the bridge when it collapsed.
But this also proves that nobody was stopping traffic. I already proved that because I showed you the traffic whizzing overhead as the thing is seconds away from hitting the bridge. So nobody was stopping traffic. We even saw 18-wheelers. You understand? So nobody was stopping traffic. So her story is not necessary. If it's that close, they already would have stopped traffic if there was anybody there stopping traffic. Listen to me, everybody. There was nobody there stopping traffic. That did not happen. That did not happen. Because if it did, you wouldn't have a sympathy story. You see? And they always craft some sympathy around an event like this so that you have less chance of focusing on the actual event. You see? So they're giving you this whole sympathy bullshit, but then these people are saying I was just barely saved my own life, but if traffic had already been stopped, then nobody's on the bridge, so you just have a bridge that went down. Nobody cares because they need you to focus on more stuff so that you don't have time to focus in on one single thing, and that is the fact that you're seeing explosions going off. You're seeing it. You're seeing it. So her story wouldn't even be necessary if what they're saying is the truth. Because it doesn't matter if her passenger was on time or not. If she got there at the time she got there, they would have been like, no, you can't come over the bridge. Something's going on. You can't.
Driver who was stopped from entering the bridge just in time.
That's how they jumble the mind. That's why you got to stay focused.
In all honesty, if my passenger wasn't a little bit late coming out to the car and getting into it, we probably very well could have been on the bridge when it collapsed. We were that close.
This comes as we continue to learn more about those workers presumed and confirmed dead. 26-year-old Dorlian Castillo Cabrera's body was found in a submerged pickup truck below the wreckage Wednesday morning. He was an immigrant from Guatemala who loved his construction job. 35-year-old Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes, a Mexican national, was also found in the truck next to Castillo. Miguel Luna was a father of 3, an immigrant from El Salvador who lived in Maryland for 19 years. And Maynor Yasir Suazo Sandoval was a Honduran national, a husband and father of 2. Luna and Sandoval are presumed dead.
You see? And why were they found in a truck? If they were working on potholes, how would they be in the truck? I don't pretend to have the answer. I just know this is some bullshit. That I am clear about. And that the story we're being told is not the truth. That I know. That I know. That I know. That I know. And this goes to the why of it. You see? Hear this now.
All right, joining me now is Abe Eshkenazi. He's the CEO of the...
Consumers face supply chains problem with port closure. And what's his name?
All right, joining me now is Abe Eshkenazi. He's the CEO.
Abe Eshkenazi. That's a fucking Zionist, stinking Zionist.
Association for Supply Chain Management. Mr. Eshkenazi, tell us what all of this is doing to the country's supply chain.
No, I think we've got...
He's here to tell you that shit is going up and you're going to be paying through your ass again, like you're already doing.
To really take a look at overall the supply chain and in terms of the supply and inventory levels that we've had compared to the pandemic and some of the other disruptions that we have. This one is not as significant. This is a logistical issue. I don't want to downplay the impact that it has to Baltimore and the port. Obviously, you've got 15,000 workers at the port, 100,000+ individuals and support systems that are connected to the port. However, the other disruptions that we've experienced, unfortunately, have prepared us. We have higher inventories today. We have greater capabilities to respond to the challenges. And this is a logistical challenge. This isn't similar to what we experienced in the pandemic with the demand shifts and the demand surges and irrational buying. The logistical issue should be able to be handled by the other ports.
That's very good to hear how this differs from what everybody experienced during the pandemic. Is there a way to tell which products or goods will be most affected?
When you take a look at what's the inventory at that port, obviously you've got finished goods, obviously the inventory of automobiles coming in, as well as a whole host of...
And given how we've seen every level of government licks the ass of Israel, I can even imagine a scenario for you that Israel pulled this shit off. And you've seen their character. They would never speak against Israel, so they would never admit that. You see? Even though we see explosions going off, we see it. This was a deliberate act. I don't give a fuck what else is going to happen on Earth. This was a deliberate act. It was not from some damn cargo ship. I've proven that. I'm over it, dude. I'm over it. I'm over it. We'll need to hear shit else from this dude.
So, I don't know how much explosive would be needed to bring this bridge down, but I'm thinking not a whole lot. And this thermite cuts through steel like butter, like that. It's like that. It's like that. It's very quick. And also the bright flame that we saw at the beginning of my piece, that flame is also indicative of thermite. It burns very quickly. It's like shh. It's like a flare almost. It's so quick, like a fire, shh, but it already burned through whatever it is, you know. And depending on how they place it and time it, boom, you can get the exact desired result that you're looking for to bring down anything. So that is a very, very, very important piece of evidence. Very important.
Now, this one I think is a little out of sequential order of what I want, of how I wanted to lay this out, but it's not the most important thing. You know, the chronology is not the most important thing. The event is, and its surrounding drama, if you will. All right. Notice here also, everybody, federal government approved $60 million to help reopen the Port of Baltimore. $60 million. They've given hundreds of millions to this shit stain in the desert known as this illegal heist of land called Israel. They've given to Ukraine, and Joe Biden has gone around Congress to give them even more weapons and more money and more everything. And suddenly, boom, out of this happened on what, Tuesday? We're not even hardly at the weekend good, and it's 60 million just poof comes out of a hat. But you can't get a reparations check. You can't get a basic universal income. You can't get minimum wage raised at the federal level that would meet a living wage for any worker who's employed in this nation. But 60 million on the fly. We had it in our shoe. We have it. We have it. You see. But there's an important piece that I need you to hear in this. Let's go.
Opened the Baltimore port after the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Just a second.
Efforts are ramping up to reopen the Baltimore port after the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Overnight, the largest crane on the eastern seaboard arrived to help lift debris from the water, and it will be a massive undertaking. Officials say the section of the bridge trapping the cargo ship weighs between 3,000 and 4,000 tons. Chris Van Cleve has more from Dundalk, Maryland.
From the water, an up-close look at the mission facing the Army Corps of Engineers.
Pictures don't do it justice. So you're looking at a vessel that weighs nearly 95,000 tons that was sailing at about 10 knots when it had its collision with the pier.
General Scott Spellman.
Stop, General Scott. Did you hear our piece of evidence there, everybody? Did you hear our piece of evidence? We'll play it again.
Cleve has more from Dundalk, Maryland.
From the water, an up-close look at the mission facing the Army Corps of Engineers.
Pictures don't do it.
By the way, also notice the containers. They're all still stacked very nicely.
Chris Van Cleve has more from Dundalk, Maryland.
From the
look, our containers are just perfectly stacked. Nothing happening. No issue. Nothing. It's all fine. It's all fine. Huh?
Water, an up-close look at the mission facing the Army Corps of Engineers.
Here's our piece of evidence. Hear it.
Pictures don't do it justice. So you're looking at a vessel that weighs nearly 95,000 tons that was sailing at about 10 knots when it had its collision with the pier.
General.
Stop, General. I know the answer to this, but I'm going to let you hear it. Listen closely now. How many miles per hour is 10 knots?
10 knots is equivalent to 11.508 miles per hour.
11.5 miles per hour, everybody. You could walk that fast. Do you understand? Get in your car and drive 11 miles an hour and see if hitting anything will take it down other than a human being. 11 miles an hour. That's it. That's why we don't have containers flying everywhere and strewn into the water, and they stacked perfect like they were when they left the damn port. Because this thing is only moving at 11 miles an hour. And they were also moving that slowly because they needed to navigate and turn, as we saw in our previous piece of evidence, to line up so they could actually hit the damn bridge. Or the bridge support. Remember, it never hit the bridge, it hit the support. And I suggest you, it didn't even hit the support, it hit the concrete that holds the support of the bridge. But he just told you 10 knots. It's 11 and a half miles an hour. That's nothing. 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 Hear it again.
Largest crane on the eastern seaboard arrived to help lift debris from the water, and it will be a massive undertaking. Officials say the section of the bridge trapping the cargo ship weighs between 3,000 and 4,000 tons. Chris Van Cleve has more from Dundalk, Maryland.
From the water, an up-close look at the mission facing the Army Corps of Engineers.
Pictures don't do it justice. So you're looking at a vessel that weighs nearly 95,000 tons that was sailing at about 10 knots when it had its collision with the pier.
General Scott Spellman is leading the team in an around-the-clock race to reopen the Port of Baltimore.
So you have to cut the bridge up to get it out of here.
That's correct. The piece that you see above the water here on the front of the vessel weighs anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000.
You have to cut the bridge up to get it out of here, said Chris Dundalk, or whatever his name is.
Leading the team
Van
in
Cleve,
an around-the-clock race to reopen the Port of Baltimore.
Hear this.
So you have to cut the bridge up to get it out of here.
You have to cut the bridge up to get it out of here. And that's what they were doing with those charges. That's why it was being blown up in sections, everybody. It's the same reason why there were already trucks lined up to remove the steel from the Twin Towers in New York, and why all of the steel had already been conveniently cut into exactly the length pieces that would fit on these trucks. How they placed the charges was so the steel itself would not be longer than a certain length. This is the same modus operandi. The same thing. You see? And he says, so the bridge has to be cut up in order to get out of here. So they were already doing it.
Had its collision with the pier.
General Scott Spellman is leading the team in an around-the-clock race to reopen the Port of Baltimore.
So you have to cut the bridge up to get it out of here.
That's correct. The piece that you see above the water here on the front of the vessel weighs anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 tons.
This is evidence, everybody. Look.
Tonight we'll have...
You see that all we have is where the stuff came, where the road and bridge came down on the ship. That's the only place where you have any container look like it's been through any event. Everything else is in perfect order, like nothing happened, or as if the ship must have only been moving at what? 11 and a half miles per hour.
See above the water here on the front of the vessel weighs anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 tons. Tonight we'll have one of the largest cranes on the eastern seaboard, so it's at least going to get cut safely into 4 pieces.
They must clear a 700-foot span of the channel by removing many thousands of tons of steel and concrete.
Notice, wait now. And I have other shots that you're going to be able to see it better, but I want to show it now.
On the eastern seaboard, so it's at least going to get cut safely into 4 pieces.
They must clear a 700-foot span of the channel by removing many thousands
Boom.
of tons.
What do you see there? You still see the point of the bow. Because what did I suggest to you in my opening statement? I said to you that this is why we have the damage. They almost didn't hit the bridge. That's why the lights were going on and off and on and off, so they could still steer it. You see? And when they thought they were lined up, they went ahead and turned the lights off, but they still weren't lined up, so they turned the lights back on and left the lights on through the entire time they were actually impacting, because they're idiots. Excuse me. So we still see the point of the bow. That's important to our case. Let's go on.
Steel and concrete.
It's not just all this debris that you can see in the massive cargo ship.
It's also everything that's sunk to the bottom. Tons of debris that's 50
Wait, wait,
feet
wait, wait,
down.
wait, 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 wait,
All
wait,
has to
wait,
come off.
wait, piece of evidence.
Massive cargo ship. It's also everything that's sunk to the bottom. Tons of debris that's 50 feet.
Why do we have charring here and here? Why do we have charring, everybody? Why? Why? Because the accident is the camera's going to move on up. You'll see.
Feet down. It all has to come off the floor before this channel.
In other words, that what we just saw is to the right of your screen, not over here where the impact and stuff is happening. That was over there where those last explosions were going off that I was showing to you.
Steel and concrete. It's not just all this debris that you can see in the massive cargo ship. It's also everything that's sunk to the bottom. Tons of debris that's 50 feet down.
What do you have charring?
It all has to come off the floor before this channel and the Port of Baltimore can reopen. NTSB investigators were back on the cargo ship Dolly Thursday, interviewing crew members, gathering evidence, and inspecting containers on board. According to the Coast Guard, 14.
See, they show you this to make it, man, it was so bad. No, it wasn't. Stay focused, everybody. Stay focused. Stay focused. This is meant to be dramatic. Oh my God, look at all the damage when there was no damage. You understand?
The cargo ship Dolly Thursday, interviewing crew members, gathering evidence, and inspecting containers on board. According to the Coast Guard, 14 with hazardous materials were damaged, but the contents, including soap and perfume, are said not to pose a threat to the public.
We need to open vessel traffic to the port because the health of the Maryland economy and the national economy depends on it.
That's an important piece of evidence as it goes to motive. Do you understand? Because I said to you in my opening, I don't know why. And I said to you, we could imagine some scenarios. We could imagine some things. But what they're going to give you now, why this piece of evidence is important, what he just said, because everything is going up. And they'll blame it all on this. You see, or as as the Arab dude said to me, everything go up. Everything go up. You see.
Perfume are said not to pose a threat to the public.
They just identified anything that was damaged. It was not. It wasn't any cars. It wasn't any major anything that's going to Walmart. So, I mean, nothing.
You open vessel traffic to the port.
You need to open up traffic to the port because what? Go on, Wes.
Because the health of the Maryland economy.
Of the Maryland economy. This one ship had. Oh my God! It took out the entire economy of Maryland. Now this is. SubhanAllah. Nah, you feel me? The entire economy of Maryland, and indeed, wait, go on, Wes, tell it.
Traffic to the port because the health of the Maryland economy and the national economy depends on it.
Last night, Maryland Governor Wes.
You see, the national economy depends on this one damn port.
Moore warned the timeline for recovery would be long.
And warned that the timeline would be long. You see what I'm saying? They're gonna milk the hell out of this. Well, everything's going up because the port. It's the port. That's why you got to pay $80 now for a crab cake. Well, it's the port, huh? Well, how come flour is $15 a bag? Well, it's the port. It's the port. This is what they're going to give you. You see, this is what they're giving you.
To the public.
We need to open vessel traffic to the port because the health of the Maryland economy and the national economy depends on it.
Last night, Maryland Governor Wes Moore warned the timeline for recovery would be long.
NTSB drone footage.
Now, haha. Remember I said they almost missed it. This is the scratch. Listen, look closely. This is your damage to the ship, everybody. Look where my cursor is. Don't look anywhere else. Stop it. Look where I'm showing you. Now, this is your damage. This other stuff, these gouges and this piece of the bow that's actually broken off and stuff like that, that is from the bridge coming down on it. That is not impact damage. Let's be very clear. Let's be very clear. This is a very important piece of evidence, this picture. It goes to the lack of impact, the lack of damage. I've already proven and shown to you that they were traveling no faster than 11.5 miles an hour. You could run that fast. You could walk that fast. Do you understand? In fact, I think the average person does walk 10 miles an hour. Let's ask the white whore. Oh, where's my other phone at? Let's see. Oops. How many miles per hour can a human walk?
About 3 miles per hour.
3 miles per hour.
According to Medical News
Okay.
Today, for most healthy adults, the average walking speed is about 3 miles per hour. However, a person's walking speed can vary, based on factors such as age, overall fitness level, and more. The above information comes from a 2020 study.
What's the fastest a human can walk when speed walking? That statistic we just got was based on you just walking. You feel me? You ain't really trying to do nothing fancy. I see a statistic here. It says is 7.7 miles per hour. That's the fastest one I see. But I've shown that 11.5 miles an hour is not no speed, everybody. It's not. You feel me? And again, I showed in the evidence already that they were clearly trying to line this thing up because they were on course to miss it when they first turned the lights off. They were on course to totally miss the thing. They turned the lights back on so they could turn it. And you saw that I backed that claim up by showing you the smoke that was now coming out of the stack. That suggests somebody trying to hit the gas a little bit to maneuver it. Do you understand? And then they had to turn it off and turn it back on. They were still turning. They were still turning. You saw it. It was clearly turning after the dude in the glasses told us once you lose electrical, you lose hydraulic, which means you can't steer the rudder. And did the little hand movement. You understand? So this is evidence that they were only traveling at 11.5 miles an hour. This is also evidence they almost missed the damn thing, that they actually grazed it with the front side of the bow, that it wasn't a direct impact. And this other damage that you see, and we're going to see some other footage that will show a little bit better, is this gouge and all this stuff is a result of this stuff coming down on it. Let's go on.
Shows the cargo ship that took down much of the 1.6 mile long structure. Its bow girdled in steel and stacked with asphalt. CBS crews captured video of its on-ramp, which now leads only to reminders of disaster. Handheld and drone cameras are used to capture photos before cleanup, the start to what is expected to be a 2-year investigation. Also a part of phase 1, conducting
which is expected to be a 2-year investigation. How did you decide that? How did you decide that? How? Let's see when this video is from. Well, this is from the 29th. That's fine. But still, why would it take 2 years? We saw what happened. We're done. What are you investigating that you are proclaiming will take 2 years? We'll just hear it again, in case I heard it wrong.
mile-long structure.
Look,
Its bow.
There's that evidence again. This is your scraping. You see that? You see these scrape marks. Forget this gouge and this broken off chip from the bow, everybody. That means nothing. That is from the debris and the road and the bridge actually coming down on it. Notice our bow is still pointy and perfect as the day when it was rolled out of the dry dock. Do you understand?
Steel and stacked with asphalt. CBS crews captured video of its on-ramp, which now leads only to reminders of disaster. Handheld and drone cameras are used to capture photos before cleanup, the start to what is expected to be a 2-year investigation. Also
a start to what is expected to be a 2-year investigation. You see? And that's part of where your $60 million is going, everybody. This is also a money heist. So for 2 years, we're going to pay you. And these type of people get paid a lot of money. NTSB and, all these other money. $60 million before you get to rebuilding the bridge and opening the port. You see, this is part of where that money goes. It's a money heist. It's a racket. Quick, hit a bridge. We'll get money, and we'll have a job for at least 2 years. It's going to pay us 6 figures. Quick, turn that tanker. Turn it. Turn the lights back on. Turn it. Turn it. Turn it. Turn it.
a part of Phase 1, conducting interviews with the ship's staff,
See?
reviewing the ship's Voyager.
You can see that bow is perfect. The only damage is because of the bridge coming down on it. That's it. If they had gotten unlucky and the bridge had somehow missed the thing as it came down, we'd have nothing but a tanker with a scraped side. Do you understand? Even the point, you see this, everybody? Right here where my cursor is, the point, that's not even damaged. It didn't hit anything. It scraped it. It almost missed it. They almost missed.
Porter, engine data, manufacturer information, and inspection and maintenance history. Then at least 6 specialized teams pieced together those details.
No, you don't need any of that because none of that happened. They were turning the power on and off as needed to get this thing lined up. They wanted a direct hit, but they didn't get it, and in fact, they almost missed it.
For a report containing the cause and sequence of events. And finally, the NTSB will issue safety recommendations, though those could come earlier in this case. Chris Van Cleve has the latest.
From the water, the scope of the accident is enormous. The cargo ship Dolly is almost as long as the Chrysler Building in New York City is tall. The wreckage sits where it fell early Tuesday morning, blocking access to one of the nation's busiest ports. We're surveying the damage with the commander of the Army Corps of Engineers.
The president called me yesterday and we spoke for a few minutes, and he made it clear this was the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers' #1 priority.
Will this be an around-the-clock effort?
We're going to go 24/7.
That sounds like a massive effort.
It is a massive effort.
General Scott Spellman's team will work with crews from the Navy and Coast Guard to begin the salvage efforts to clear the waterway and allow divers to recover the remaining 4 bodies believed to be trapped beneath the rubble.
It's not just all this debris that you can see in this massive cargo ship. It's also everything that's sunk to the bottom. Tons of debris that's 50 feet down. It all has to come off the floor before this channel and the Port of Baltimore can reopen.
Already, there is a traffic jam of cargo ships unable to get in or out of the Port of Baltimore, plus 2 cruise ships that won't be able to return to the Charm City port.
Now that I love. Like your stuff is all over the news. I don't care who you work for. If you on that cruise ship, you tell your boss, turn on the TV. I'm on one of them ships. Like, I'm literally trapped on a cruise ship. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Don't open it up. Don't open up back up the port. We still stranded. Right, bring me another steak.
Beneath the rubble.
It's not just all this debris that you can see in this massive cargo ship. It's also everything that's sunk to the bottom. Tons of debris that's 50 feet down. It all has to come off the floor before this channel and the Port of Baltimore can reopen.
Already, there is a traffic jam of cargo ships
unable
to get in.
Already is a traffic jam of cargo ships. See, here they go. Because remember when the thing was the Suez Canal, when the I forget which country closed it or whatever, maybe it was Egypt or somebody recently, and they were like, because that canal is closed, everything has gone up. We're already in inflation, but now here we are. You feel me? And they're going to do the same thing with this. And go tell us it now, Chris Van Cleve. Tell us why we're going to be paying out our ass. Go.
It's not just all this debris that you can see in this massive cargo ship. It's also everything that's sunk to the bottom, tons of debris that's 50 feet down. It all has to come off the floor before this channel and the Port of Baltimore can reopen.
Go.
Already, there is a traffic jam of cargo ships unable to get in or out of the Port of Baltimore, plus 2 cruise ships that won't be able to return to the Charm City port that employs 8,000 people.
This is a core economic engine for our state, and we have to make sure that our workers are protected.
New video shows traffic early Tuesday morning on the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
This is another piece that I saw in other reports, but they don't show. So why don't you just show the rest of the footage? It's from a CCTV camera. Then show it. Like they just keep showing that this is where allegedly the welders will work, or the people working on the bridge. So let the video play the rest of it. Oh, we can't do that. You'll see the explosions more clearly. All right, my bad. All right, then just cut it.
8,000 people.
This is a core economic engine for our state, and we have to make sure that our workers are protected.
New video shows traffic early Tuesday morning on the Francis Scott Key Bridge and that construction crew filling potholes moments before the dollies slammed into it. And now our first look on board the giant vessel as NTSB investigators work to gather evidence and continue interviews with the ship's 21-person crew. The dolly's voice data recorder shows about 90 seconds after the first sign of trouble, the onboard pilot called for help, asking nearby tugboats to respond. Less than a minute later, the Mayday call. Then the devastating collision. The damage on board is extensive. Part of the bridge came down on the bow, leaving a deep.
See there again. He said coming down the bow, leaving a deep what? Wait, say it.
Extensive. Part of the bridge came down on the bow, leaving a deep gash. Cargo containers
Leaving a
with
deep
hazardous
gash,
material,
but no damage to the damn ship. But for that gouge from the stuff coming down, no damage. You would not even know this thing had impacted anything.
To respond. Less than a minute later, the Mayday call. Then the devastating collision. The damage on board is extensive.
No, it's not.
Part of the bridge came down on the bow, leaving a deep gash. Cargo containers with hazardous material sit sheared open.
See, just right here in the front. That's all. Nothing behind it is even moved. Like nothing, like like you stop in a car, something you stop too quick in a car, something moves forward. Just moves forward. Just anything. Here, no containers moved at all. At all. Nothing moved because we were only traveling at 11.5 miles per hour tops and barely scraped the bridge support. Did not impact it directly. I've proven that now. Let's go on. But no movement of containers.
When you get out here on the water and you look at that, you really get a sense for the massive effort that we're dealing with.
The Army Corps of Engineers has to clear a 700-foot wide channel to get the port
back
open.
What?
Now, the Navy is bringing in the largest floating crane on the East Coast overnight. It can lift up to 1,000 tons, but they think the piece of bridge laying...
This is to give you crisis of it all, everybody. Crisis of it all. The other element you always have to conspiracy, they always bring the sentimental element. So we want to bring that in our next piece of evidence.
Across the ship weighs 3 or 4 times that.
By the way, nobody flies this type of drone anymore, just so you know, but just, so what? It's nothing. I'm fine. It's a good drone, though, but just, no. It looks like a toilet. This is their drone footage now. All right. And again, notice that there is this ship does not look like it's been any type of an accident. It definitely is evident that something fell on top of it, and that's where our damage is coming from. But other than that, you have nothing because they almost missed completely. And then it would have been a total disaster for them because it totally missed. And then, oh my God, the bridge comes down with the explosions. It would be so evident. Oh, y'all blew up the thing. You see, this is a good shot of it. Again, just the scraping. The scraping. That's it. Without this bridge coming down on it, this piece of the bow wouldn't be gouged out. That's the only reason why you have that. It's not from the impact at all. And I proved in my previous evidence that after they struck it, that's why I was pointing out the water. The water, after the impact, boom, water comes up, it splashes up, and then subsides. They sit there. Then they hit the charges to blow it up, and down comes the bridge. It should have happened simultaneously, but there was no movement, no effect on the bridge at all from this thing scraping its foundation support. There it is. There it is. There it is. There's the evidence. There's the evidence right there in front of you. Right there in front of you. This gouged out this piece that looks like somebody took a bite out of it. That's it. Without this, you got a bow that's in perfect, perfectly in perfect form and no damage to it. And the only containers affected by this thing is where this came down on it. That's it. The other containers, no problems at all. They didn't even move. No containers fell off the ship because of this major impact, and oh my God, you understand? None of that happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Do you understand? All right, how much more of this do I need? Do I need this? There's just more drone footage. So you get a real, sense of nothing happened to the damn ship because it wasn't a direct impact. All right, we'll go to our sentimental piece because they always have to have that. Now, this is from 2 days ago. So that would have been, this is Saturday, Friday, Thursday. So it'd be Wednesday or Thursday, depending. And this allegedly happened on Tuesday, I believe it was. This full thing. So let's see this short report. Oops.
Federal investigators got an up-close view of the twisted mess of metal and concrete blocking one of America's busiest ports.
Just looking at what was a bridge span, 3 bridge spans, that is pretty much gone.
See there? That's so important to keep showing that because they're pointing it out when they show it. Again, they almost missed everybody, and I showed you that in my second opening video. The second video that I presented to you, I showed you this damn thing turning. That's why they were turning the lights on and off. They were trying to line it up. They were about to miss it completely. This was deliberate. This was deliberate.
Pretty much gone. Just utter devastation.
The NTSB team boarded the ship Wednesday to begin interviewing crew members and recover the ship's voyage data recorder as they try to figure out why the cargo ship Dolly struck Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge, causing it to collapse.
It's a massive undertaking for an investigation.
And you could really see that fire from there, too.
The NTSB
on that one that I showed you when it went across the ship, that I wanted to show you that that's not part of the, that's not because of anything on the ship or hitting the ship, that is part of the bridge. It's being exploded separately. Like that is moving with the bridge.
Key Bridge causing it to collapse.
This one here.
It's a massive undertaking for an investigation.
The NTSB said the Dolly held 56.
Look, the bow is in perfect order. Perfect order. You just have this one section that's a few feet across because the bridge and road fell right there. Other than that, you've got no evidence of this tanker striking anything.
Containers of hazardous material.
No containers move. Look how perfectly they're stacked, everybody. Just like dominant. They're just totally stacked perfect. Nothing shifted. Nothing moved. Nothing happened. Nothing.
Some of those containers were sheared open, leaving a sheen on the water.
There is no threat to the public from the hazardous materials
There's Buddha Butt over here to the right.
On board.
The Port of Baltimore, which is the nation.
He's transportation secretary. Maybe we need to insinuate him in the why of it all. You see? I don't know.
The public from the hazardous materials on board.
The Port of Baltimore, which is the nation's top hub for vehicles, remains closed, impacting thousands of workers. Divers have recovered the bodies of 2 of the 6 highway workers presumed to have died after the bridge collapsed.
There's a sentimental piece.
There's no way to reach the others until some of the
Wait now.
highway
There's a
workers
sentimental piece.
Thousands of workers. Divers have recovered the bodies of 2 of the 6 highway workers presumed to have died after the bridge collapsed. Search teams
Wait now.
there's no way to reach
Why
the
would
others.
why would 6 workers be even on the bridge if, according to the diaper, they knew 20 minutes before to stop traffic? So these workers wouldn't have run for their lives and had plenty of time to run for their life? Huh? I mean, one is true and one is not. You can't have it all. So why were there even, because they need a sentimental piece. You see, focus on this. We lost lives.
Of workers. Divers have recovered.
And our thoughts and prayers. You have to have that with any conspiracy. You have to have it. Quick, bring in the flowers.
The bodies of 2 of the 6 highway workers presumed to have died after the bridge collapsed. Search teams say there's no way to reach the others until some of the wreckage is removed. Maryland State Police identified the men found as 35-year-old Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes, originally from Mexico, and 26-year-old Dorlian Castillo Cabrera.
I'm so sick of these people. They can't even say, listen, I can't. Latinos need to be up in arms. Listen to this.
Maryland State Police identified the men found as 35-year-old Alejandro.
L-A-L-A, really, Heffa? Alejandro? It's Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes. Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes. That's his name. You see?
Hernandez Fuentes, originally from Mexico.
Alejandro.
From Mexico. And
wait.
Hernandez Fuentes.
Wait.
Is 35-year-old Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes, originally from Mexico. And 26-year-old Dorlian Castillo Cabrera from Guatemala.
No. Dorlian Ronial Castillo Cabrera. This is how you say the name. I'm over
Among
it.
the missing, Minor Yasser Suazo Sandoval, who leaves behind a teenage son and 5-year-old daughter.
Eso fue un golpe duro para toda la familia.
His eldest brother said their family is in tremendous agony. The Navy is sending barges with cranes to help clear the scene, and the Army Corps of Engineers and Coast Guard also have more resources on the way.
Okay. Listen. The why of it, we will have to piece that together, everybody. It's not immediately evident. Again, we could get into some politics of it. We're going to probably see a lot more of this Pete Buttigieg person because he's the Secretary of Transportation. There could be that in a pot of other stuff, you know. Certainly money is always the root of evil with white people at anything that they do. Anything. Even if they try to look like they're trying to help somebody, that's only because there's something in it for them. It's never anything it's benevolent and let's just be kind and because we want to be pleasing to God. No. You see? So there's a motive here. We don't know what it is, but what we do know is that this was a deliberate act, not caused by any tanker hitting bridges. Do you understand? This was brought down by explosive charges placed on this bridge. And maybe, just maybe, the reason why you have these 6 dead workers, allegedly, they're only identifying 2 of them, is because sometimes you could, maybe they were put there, maybe they were there to place the charges and they did something to make sure they died too, so they, couldn't tell the story or something. I mean, they could have been part of it. I always tell you, you can be a part of a conspiracy and not know you're part of it. And it's very easy in today's society because people are so quick to quote the words, "I was just doing my job." People are very quick to just do their job. So it's easy to just make you part of something and you have no clue that you're in on something nefarious and evil. Very easy to do that in America. The dumbest population of people ever seen on planet Earth in any era is the American public. The dumbest. So we could imagine that there could be, something to make sure that because why wouldn't they run for their lives? If they claim they were stopping traffic, nobody thought they should just tell these guys that the bridge might be going down. We don't know. You see? But it came on a sudden because, as I've shown you, this thing did not hit this concrete support of the foundation in any way that was material to its collapse at all. And that it wasn't a collapse. That's what they're still giving us with the damn Twin Towers. The World Trade Center. They're still giving you collapse. Any human being with 2 eyes in their face looks at that and goes, "That's not a collapse. That is buildings becoming dust in midair in front of me, clearly being exploded." That's not even up for question at all. So we don't have a collapse here. We have a bridge being blown up in sections. The way that it came down is not even consistent with where it was hit at. Because where it was hit at, it would have come down differently. But also, we saw there was no reaction after it hit it because it only hit it at 11 miles an hour. That's not enough to do anything. Remember, these bridges are built to withstand some stuff over centuries. That is a bridge. They don't just throw it together and, oh, it's done. That is an engineering marvel. Do you understand what I'm telling you? And it's meant to consider if these foundations, these supports are struck by something and various speeds and what it's designed to withstand. And we could get into that. I'm sure that data exists somewhere on this very bridge. What it was designed to withstand, from wind to weather in general, to impacts by an airplane or an accident, like if somebody ran, lost control of their car and ran into the side of it. Would that do anything to the overall structure of the bridge? What if a speedboat hits it, or a tanker, or this goes into the design. They think about this stuff. And I would love to be able to know what impact was these supports designed to withstand. And I suggest to you, I proclaim even, that it's going to be way higher than 11 miles an hour. That I promise you. So, let me make sure there wasn't another piece, because I had some other, I just want to make sure that I didn't leave out anything that I pulled. Yeah, these other 2 pieces that I want to bring are to do with, like this one is engineer, and the other one is a structural something. I'm interested to hear what they have to say. This one says engineer reacts to the bridge collapse. So let's see if he says anything that is of probative value to our prosecution.
Ken Davis, he is a structural engineer and owner of KH Davis Engineering Consultants in Toronto. Ken, as Tony Grace was just reporting, this cargo ship struck the bridge early this morning, But we heard from officials there that this bridge was up to code, that there were no structural issues with it. So how does a bridge nearly 3 kilometers long come down then like a pile of dominoes?
Well, it's shocking to see the images of what happened. I was able to, excuse me, see a YouTube video that showed sort of a time lapse of the collapse. And of course, it appears that the ship was errant. It went off track. And I'm guessing that it just plowed right into the bridge pier, which of course provides support for the entire structure. If you look carefully at pictures of the bridge before the accident, you can see that the support that failed consisted of a very heavy concrete beam supported on what initially might look like 2 pillars, but in actual fact there's 4. And I'm thinking that if there was an impact on one of those 4 legs, that would have created an instability and caused that entire span to collapse.
No, but it didn't though. See, this is very important because it's not just one thing. Like he's saying, there's 4 supports on this, and what we saw in the video after when it hit in the water, nothing had happened. You see, like, and I can't. Well, shut up, Jedi. Just try and hear his case.
And I'm thinking that if there was an impact on one of those 4 legs, that would have created an
He's
instability.
talking so low. I got to turn up my house volume. Hold up, y'all.
That if there was an impact on one of those 4 legs, that would have created an instability and caused that entire span to collapse. And the other reason that it might have brought the whole bridge down is that this isn't just a simple bridge that supported at points. It's what's called a through truss bridge. It's a very large one, and the bridge itself relies on support from not just individual supports, but even from adjacent spans. So it's a continuous structure. So if a part of it collapses, the rest of it can come down as well.
And I'm just going to ask crew if we can upstairs perhaps put up those live pictures, if we have them, of the structure now in the water. And I'm wondering, as we look at that, thank you, given the large debris field and the number of levels of investigation, including the NTSB, the FBI, is it going to be difficult, Ken, to reach a conclusion early as to exactly what happened? How difficult will it be to put together the evidence?
I don't think it's going to be difficult at all. I suspect.
I don't think it's going to be difficult at all. But they've said 2 years. You see, he's saying what we know just as lay people. Why would it take 2 years? And she just asked him, it's a perfect question.
Exactly what happened? How difficult will it be to put together the evidence?
I don't think it's going to be difficult at all.
Well,
I suspect, and I'm only speculating, of course I have no knowledge, but I suspect what's happened is there was some kind of a failure of some of the systems on the ship. It just happens that I have some knowledge of these ships, and there's, of course, the main engines that propel it forward. There's also thrusters that allow the ship to move side to side, and I'm wondering, especially in view of the fact that it sounds like there was a mayday or a warning ahead of time, I'm guessing that there was some sort of a failure of one of the systems on board the ship, which caused it to veer off course and collide with the bridge pier. And I think that probably the investigation is going to show that this wasn't because of a faulty bridge; it was because of a faulty ship.
Could you give us some insight then into why the ship lights may have been flickering right before the ship veered off coast? There have been reports of lights flickering just mere moments before the collision.
Well, no, who knows? I really couldn't speak to that.
But would that be a human that was flickering?
Yes.
Would that be some sort of mechanical or
Perhaps.
technical breakdown?
Well, I guess it's possible that somebody was flashing lights to try to warn people, but I would think that would be fairly ineffective. But the fact that there was some sort of a distress call made, obviously that's a key aspect of what's going on here. So I suspect that people operating the ship somehow knew that there was a problem, and they tried to warn authorities to get people off the bridge and stop the flow of traffic.
Ken, I'm going to squeeze in one last question with you, and that
Yes.
is about the age of this bridge. We understand that it was built in 1977. Again, though, we heard that there were no structural issues. That was according to the governor this morning. Would a bridge today be built to a different code than it was in 1977?
Well, the current code would surely be different than it was in 1977. One aspect to this that occurred to me was that, back in 1977, the container ships were not as large as they are today. And I Googled, just out of my own curiosity this morning, it would appear that back in the 1970s, these container ships were far smaller than they are today. I think today they're probably more than double the size that they were in 1970 when this bridge was built. And of course, when we design structures like this, engineers, anticipate, what if something happens? For example, the Dome Stadium in Toronto, I believe, there's a lot of redundancy built into that roof in the event that an airplane were to crash into it. You don't want the whole roof to collapse, so it has to maintain a certain structure. So in the case of a bridge like this, you would expect that you'd want to design the supports to be able to carry a certain amount of impact.
What I say?
Now, of course, the size of
That's what I say. You would plan that in its design. It's literally sitting in the damn water where ships are going to be going past it. Let's design it to withstand a certain level of impact. Boom.
Impact that may have been anticipated back in 1970 may be very, very different than the size of impact that actually occurred in view of the size of the ships that we have today.
Ken, hang tight. I just do want to ask you one other question, but I want to point out to our viewers that we are looking at the river and we see the
We know what we're looking at.
Coast Guard helicopters overhead again as the search and rescue continues.
Ken, hold on. I just want to tell our viewers, this is that crisis reporting, everybody. Like as if it's such a moving story. It's so developing. We just have to tell you wait, we just saw an anthill being formed just off the side of the road. It would just come back to you in just a moment, Ken. We just have to get that. Wait, a bird just landed. We're not sure. We'll come back to you, Ken. It's that, man. They make me sick with it. Wait, Ken, just to let our viewers know that we're taking a look at the bay and there's a helicopter going. We know that already.
So I lied, Ken. I got one more question, and that is we heard from the governor that this is going to be a long-term rebuild of this bridge. This is a major commuter bridge. 35,000 vehicles go over this bridge every single day to the port. Based on your experience, how long would it take to rebuild a bridge of this size, almost 3 kilometers long?
Oh boy, it's going to be a long build. It
Years?
would be hard to imagine. It would be hard to imagine anything less than a year. I would say probably more like 2 years. It's going to be a long build.
Ken, thank you so much for being with us, part of our breaking news this morning. Ken,
all right, one more. Okay, now this one says, here's what surprised a structural engineering professor about the Baltimore Bridge collapse. So that's why I clicked on this one. So we definitely want to hear what this is about. All right.
Action News reporter John Paul. He's live for us now at the Betsy Ross Bridge here closer to home.
Right, and John, you're learning more about the safety of our local bridges tonight, huh?
That's right, Rick Shar. That's what we've been looking into, like at the Betsy Ross Bridge just behind me. This is very similar to that bridge in Baltimore. It was built around the same time, within just a few years, and it's almost the same total length as well. But this bridge has one big difference, and it's not what's on the bridge, it's what's in the water. 8.5 million vehicles drive across the Betsy Ross Bridge over the Delaware River every year. And after the catastrophic collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore this morning, a similar structure, we wanted to know what safety measures are in place here.
All of our bridges have protection systems in place to prevent ships from striking.
John Hansen is the CEO of the
Delaware
River
that's
Port
important.
Authority. He's closely
Say it again,
followed
John.
this collapse. But he says the key difference, a similar structure, we wanted to know what safety measures are in place here.
All of our bridges have protection systems in place to prevent ships from striking.
John.
All of our bridges have, say it again,
All of our bridges have protection systems in place.
have protection systems in place. All of our bridges, he says,
To prevent ships from striking.
to prevent ships from striking them. I knew that just as a common sense. There it is, John Hanson telling us this. And I might have been on this damn bridge because I used to go to Delaware a lot, you guys too, when I lived in Maryland. One of my buddies was a professor at the University of Delaware. I used to go to Delaware quite a bit from Maryland, and I might have been on this damn bridge that they were just showing. All right, so all of them have it. Go.
John Hanson is the CEO of the Delaware River Port Authority. He's closely following this collapse, but he says the key difference sits in the Delaware River near the bridge support piers.
When you talk about the Betsy Ross Bridge, we have concrete dolphins that are protective against ships that will prevent a ship from striking the pier. That's what we have at the Betsy Ross Bridge.
You can see those circular structures from Drone 6. And when you look at video from Baltimore, you don't see them near the support piers. Something a structural engineering professor at Drexel noticed right away.
Why were there no protection systems around the pier?
Dr. Abe Agayiri analyzes structural collapses. He was surprised that this type of bridge, known as a continuous truss bridge, completely failed.
When something is continuous, it is supposed to be able to at least hang on. What I saw was that once the pier that was supporting that span gave way, the bridge just went down.
So we're to believe that these guys, that this John guy, this guy, the African brother, and the dude in the last one that I showed you, none of them seen the explosions. These are structural engineering people. Y'all didn't see no flames from the explosions. Y'all didn't see that. I mean, it just,
the pier that was supporting that span gave way, the bridge just went down. There was no hesitation.
That is something, of course, the NTSB will be looking into. And Rick, the Port Authority says all of the bridges along the Delaware River, they have the protections around those support piers.
But still, it doesn't matter because we didn't need it because, as I said, the thing didn't have a direct hit anyways. It grazed the support with its front side of the bow. It was not a direct hit at all. They almost missed. And it wasn't enough speed or anything to cause what we saw. But we saw those damn explosions at the very places where it breaks into sections. You see? So, I mean, don't do it. 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 I knew there was one other thing that I wanted you to see. I just needed to find it because we didn't need this whole clip. This is nearly 30 minutes long. We don't need this. And I think the other reason why I pulled this because there was also some more of the sympathy stuff. We don't need that either. This is very specious, this part that I want to show you, though. Well, we'll just start here, I think.
Isabel Franco speaking through an interpreter.
I feel bad. Only God knows how hard my heart aches. Maybe he was desperate, trying to escape.
New video from the NTSB takes us inside the crippled cargo ship Dolly sitting frozen in the...
I already told you this means nothing. The new video takes inside the crippled tanker Dolly. Forget that. I've already shown you this thing is not damaged. It's not. It's not. What you see here is these girders and stuff. That's the bridge that came down on the front of this damn thing. I've already shown and proven that there's nothing wrong with this damn ship at all. At all. This ship was to this what the airplanes were to the World Trade Center on 9/11. Because if they just blown up the towers, everybody would go, look, the tower just blew up. Look. But instead, they gave you airplanes and go, well, that's why they came down. Look. When that's not it at all, the planes hit the tower and then they blew up the building and took it down. Do you understand? This is that. If we just saw the bridge being blown up by those explosives and went down, we go, look, they just blew up the bridge. We don't know why, but they totally just blew it up. So quick, bring in a tanker, quick. Bring in a tanker, bring it. Get a tanker, quick. So they bring in the tanker. It barely grazes the support of this damn thing, and down comes the bridge. Look, well, the tanker took it down. Look, you saw it. You saw it. You see? Just like people scream, I saw the planes hit the tower. So what, heifer? And I saw the buildings being blown up after the fact. What? So this is that. Do you understand? So they're going to give you this like this.
Moment it collided with the bridge.
See? Nah. What did it say? What?
I feel bad. Only God knows how hard my heart aches. Maybe he was desperate, trying to escape.
New video from the NTSB takes us inside the crippled cargo ship Dolly.
Inside the crippled ship Dolly.
Sitting frozen in the moment it collided with the bridge.
Sitting frozen in the moment it collided with the bridge. And they're trying to give you this, oh my God, it was such an impact that, oh my God. No, the Jedi has spoken. And I've shown and proven to you that this thing wasn't even traveling at even 10 knots, probably. You understand? Nah, don't go for that.
Investigators have focused on gathering perishable evidence and interviewing the crew and boat pilots who were on board early Tuesday morning. While the data is still being analyzed...
Wait, this is important. So there's a comma there. There's a comma.
Collided with the bridge.
Oh, period.
Investigators have focused on gathering perishable evidence and interviewing the crew and boat pilots who were on board early Tuesday morning.
And boat pilots that were on Tuesday morning. Period. Next statement.
While the data is still being
analyzed, hear this.
CBS News estimates.
CBS News estimates. That's why I wanted to show you this, to show you how they do a psychological hit on your ass. And you go away going, oh, they must have really hit that thing because they were showing how it was like as if, no, listen now, watch.
Investigators have focused on gathering perishable evidence and interviewing the crew and boat pilots who were on board early Tuesday morning. While the data is still being analyzed, CBS News estimates when the more than 900-foot-long ship rammed into the bridge, it hit with at least the same force as the thrust generated by the launch of a Falcon 9 rocket.
And I just thought, are you serious? CBS News is not engineers and structural people and shit. It's CBS News. You report the shit. You feel me? But there they are. And this is a parentheses. Do you understand? This would be a proverbial parentheses. Like, you're not an engineer. You're not even saying it's speculative. You're just saying CBS News has estimated. No. There's no need for this. This is a hit piece on your psyche, everybody, to make it seem like there was all this force, just like they try and give you all that jet. It was just all this jet fuel, this magical jet fuel, never seen by any of humanity or experienced by any human in any civilization, any time on the earth. But this magical jet fuel just went throughout this entire 110-story building and just caused everything to just become dust on the ground, and we just don't know how. Oh my God, it was just so dramatic. This is that. That's why they put this parentheses, I'm calling it, this parentheses in there that CBS News is estimating, not the structural engineers, not the people who build the shit and can tell us all the details. No, just our pathetic ass, who do nothing but show up on the scene and say what happened. CBS News is estimating. I have to play that again. Hear this.
Investigators have focused on gathering perishable evidence and interviewing the crew and boat pilots who were on board early Tuesday morning. While the data is still being analyzed, CBS News estimates when the more than 900-foot-long ship rammed into the bridge, it hit with at least the same force as the thrust generated by the launch of a Falcon 9 rocket.
And they went so far. Remember, this is not accidental, everybody. This isn't somebody misspeaking or accidentally making a statement. They went through the trouble of giving you a graphic to go along with it of a damn Eagle rocket launching and shit. This is deliberate. We estimate that it was like it was hit by a rocket. No, it wasn't even going 10 knots. It wasn't enough force to take down this entire damn bridge. You see? Because they realized we need all this force to explain how it would take down the entire bridge. Because if people begin to know, look, this thing was going slower than you could have walked, it becomes a little questionable. And you go, wait, that took down that whole bridge? Then you see the side scraping that I pointed out to you in my prosecution, showing you it was not a direct hit. I proved with the video evidence that they almost missed, that all the damage to the bow of the ship is from the damn thing collapsing after it's being blown up and falling down on the ship now. I've shown and proven this. But CBS News, that wasn't enough for them. No, we have to come in with our own speculation. Because we apparently know building and structural engineering, and that's what we do.
Is still being analyzed. CBS News estimates when the more than 900-foot-long ship rammed into the bridge, it hit with at least the same force as the thrust generated by the launch of a Falcon 9
rocket. They just pulled that out of their... You literally saw something being just pulled out of the ass right there, everybody. That's a full pull this out of our ass moment. Just pull out. You feel me? That's what that was. And then what?
And Chris joins us.
After they just did that. Wow. It's as I have said to you and proven and shown, everybody. We can get to the why of it, over the next days and weeks. We don't know the why. As I've said throughout, we can speculate on various scenario and motives, Certainly the economic piece that I insinuated earlier, and all of that. But we don't have the full why of it. What we do know is that this was not something that was brought down because of this damn tanker. I've shown and proven that. Shown and proven. Shown and proven. That's why this thing, or how this thing happened. This tanker barely grazed the damn support column, and then seconds later they hit the button to blow the charges that brought the damn thing down. That's what happened. They threw in this Falcon 9 rocket nonsense to try to add something to the story to make it seem like there was this major collision, yet I showed you not a single fucking container on that ship had been moved. They were stacked as perfect as the day they were stacked. Nothing moved. There's no damage to the ship at all, except for the scraping on the side where they almost missed hitting the damn support column foundation, and that all the damage to the bow is from the crap falling down on it. That is what happened. The Jedi has spoken.